The Fox 9 investigators spent the last several months speaking with legal experts and law enforcement all across Minnesota.
The fact that it's starting to be utilized with much more frequency now doesn't surprise me.
We pored over these cases, the threats to kill others and often harm themselves.
You're escalating the situation. What you mean? He got a gun in here. I'm trying to keep him from... No.
Any idea how many guns the city has collected so far?
To date, since the inception of the law, we've had about 60 guns.
We know them conversationally as red flags, or officially extreme risk protection orders. The law on the books in Minnesota now for a second year. Saving lives?
I think it's saving lives.
And data we analyzed found these cases are on pace to more than double in 2025. But sometimes that comes with a fight.
He cannot exercise his Second Amendment right, and the government is trying to take that away.
We need to have the ability to immediately seize the firearms as opposed to waiting for the order to come into play.
The Fox 9 investigators requested every single extreme risk protection order filed in the state of Minnesota over the last 2 years since the law went into effect. That's more than 400 cases overall. In the law's first year, 138 protection orders were requested. We are on pace to double that number in 2025. Does that jump in number, does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, again, brand new process. Everybody's got to A, learn about it, and B, figure out how it works. And, that takes time.
You're escalating the situation. What you mean? He got a gun in here. I'm trying to keep him from... No.
This Brooklyn Park PD use of force incident involved a grieving father who went for his gun following the death of his infant son. The man was shot by police and survived. Authorities, meanwhile, immediately headed into court to bar him from legally possessing a firearm, with a judge signing off on a year-long extreme risk protection order.
This is one of those tools that allows us to take action when we make contact with somebody who we can tell is potentially very dangerous and has guns.
When we spoke to Inspector Matt Raby here, Brooklyn Park Police had applied for 11 extreme risk protection orders over the 2-year period. A judge allowed them to confiscate this collection of handguns from an individual with undiagnosed psychosis who had threatened to kill colleagues after showing up drunk at his workplace.
Over the course of 23 years, I've made a lot of contact with people that are profoundly disturbed. We've never really had the tools to do anything about it in the past.
Any indication that you may have saved lives?
Well, it's really hard to say. It's hard to talk about what could have been.
It's hard to prove a negative, right? How do you prove that somebody would have, but for this law, something bad would have happened?
But I think we all know that, we can look back on these horrible situations, horrible shootings that have happened, and people say, hey, well, there were signs here. Why didn't anyone do anything? Why didn't anyone say anything? This is us doing that and saying, there are some signs, I think we should take action.
And that's what the stakeholders told me over and over and over again. They want to prevent the next denunciation, the next political assassination involving a gunman amassing a significant arsenal or threatening to shoot up a public space, like one disgruntled individual who vowed to carry out an attack on a St. Paul public library. We tracked his case through the courts.
He wanted to kill as many people as he could before either being killed by the police or killing himself. Individuals stated that he hated this world and hated his life and wanted to make everyone who hurt them pay for what they had done to them.
As for how this works, law enforcement, prosecutors, as well as individual family and household members can apply for an ERPO if they are concerned about a particular person.
I think the evidence shows that it protects people probably more from self-harm than harm to third parties.
In fact, over the first 2 years of the law, more than 70 red flags were raised by private parties worried about the safety and security of a loved one or former partner, while some 330 cases were initiated by prosecutors and law enforcement.
And the thing that I want people to understand is it's better to do this than to be wrong or not get notified at all.
Ultimately, a judge must sign off on the order barring the respondent from possessing or purchasing guns for a minimum period of 14 days, up to the 1 year max.
Most of the cases we are seeing in Hennepin County are threats to others, so they're harm to other cases.
I have had many anecdotal conversations saying, we think the community's safer tonight.
One indicator that this law is working as intended is the number of extreme risk protection orders rejected by the courts at first filing. According to the data we reviewed, only about 5% of the applications were outright tossed by judges. Otherwise, in every other case, a potentially dangerous individual was stripped of their gun rights for at least a 2-week period. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.